Joining us now on set is White House correspondent for the Daily Signal, Elizabeth Mitchell. Elizabeth, thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. I feel like we're in Groundhog Day. Every day of this government shutdown is more of the same. Republicans not caving, Democrats not caving, each one thinking they have the winning hand. So when does this end?
It seems that there is truly no end in sight. Republicans have said repeatedly they will not negotiate until Democrats vote to reopen the government, even though President Trump has said he is interested in talking about ways to lower health care premiums. Democrats, on the other hand, are insistent that they will not pass the CR until these ACA subsidies are put into the continuing resolution, even though this clean continuing resolution is something that many of them, including Chuck Schumer, have supported for years. So we're really at a standstill here. President Trump's in Asia, so I don't see him getting involved, at least for this week. So a lot of people are saying this could go at least until Thanksgiving.
Elizabeth, you cover the White House, a rising star of Beltway journalism. I get the sense that the Trump White House right now is using this shutdown very differently than all past White Houses have played shutdown politics. Generally speaking, Republicans know they get blamed for these things. But President Trump doesn't appear to be afraid of that. And in fact, he seems to be leaning into this shutdown to use it in a way no other president ever has to advance his existing policy agendas, such as reducing the size of the federal workforce. Is that the sense you get as well?
You're absolutely right. From the beginning, Russ Vought, the director of the Office of Management and Budget, has taken this as an opportunity to cut waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal government. We remember DOGE in the early days, and now OMB is presented with the biggest doging opportunity of the administration, potentially, to cut what President Trump has called Democrat programs and Democrat agencies. So they've cut these Green New Deal programs from New York and blue states like California. They've been cutting federal workers who are deemed unnecessary, like people at the Department of Education, which is an agency the Trump administration campaigned on gutting. And so we'll see what else happens. But Democrats certainly are playing into Republicans' hands of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse by continuing this shutdown.
Doging is, by the way, is a verb. I didn't know.
Is it
That's
now
a verb.
the Oxford Dictionary?
Has, or had doged.
But Elizabeth, couldn't this be a liability to the Republican Party? Listen, this was supposed to be a 7-week CR. I think we're in week 5 of the shutdown. Premiums will be going up on November 1st. That is this Saturday. No one has been negotiating over health care costs or extending these Obamacare subsidies. So after, folks on Obamacare, which is 24 million Americans, get their premium spikes in the mail on Saturday, won't they all be forced to sit down and talk with one another to resolve this? Because come next November, it most likely will be Republicans who are blamed for rising health care costs.
I've talked to several senators about how they see this shutdown ending, and what they've told me is that they think eventually some senators who are on the verge of retiring will just go ahead and vote with Republicans, and they'll reopen the government. And then Republicans will schedule a vote. Senator Thune has said he will schedule a vote after the CR passes to talk about these ACA subsidies and consider lowering premiums, even though it's not something that the majority of Republican senators support, because they say that these were specifically for COVID, so it doesn't make sense to extend them now 5 years or so after COVID. So that's where a lot of the senators are standing. And you're right, this is a liability, but polls are showing that voters are leaning more and more towards blaming Democrats for the shutdown the longer it goes on. And as we've been talking about, that November 1st deadline is also really big for those SNAP benefits, where a lot of people, 40 million people, are going to potentially be going hungry. And the Trump administration has said they would support a bill to keep that going. We'll see if Democrats support that. But that would be another point of contention for Democrats.
We only have about 30 seconds left in this segment, but you just averred to one potential way this could end, which is Democrats who are not on the firing line, who are retiring, might just finally side with the Republicans and reopen the government. Another suggested scenario is that Republicans will go nuclear and end the Senate filibuster, which is what requires you get 60 votes in certain circumstances, and then just reopen the government without any need for Democratic input. Do you see that happening?
That's a really risky option. Senator Thune, the leader of the Senate, has said that he will not support this because this very feature could be used if Democrats are in the majority to push the Democrat agenda. So it's a very risky option, and I doubt this is going to happen, but it's certainly something being floated by many Republican senators.
Well, we hope an end comes soon, right?
Well, absolutely. Elizabeth Mitchell, thank you so much, and please stick around. We have you in some more segments coming up.